Have you ever wondered what it would take to double your money? And do you know that you can actually do this through dividends and stock investing? Many people don't actually know the power of compounding and how this applies to investing. But before I talk about this in a bit more detail, let's look at a simple short story about the creation of chess. About 1,000 years ago, there was a mathematician in India. It is said that he brought his creation to his ruler and showed him how the game is played. The ruler, quite impressed, asked the mathematician what he wanted for a reward. The mathematician responded that he was a humble man and his needs were few. He simply asked that a single grain of rice be placed on the first square of the chessboard, then 2 on the second, 4 on the third, with each square doubling along the way. All he wanted was the rice that would be on the 64th square of the board. How much rice do you think this is? Would it fill a silo? A warehouse? Stay tuned because I'm going to give you the answer in a second and tell you how you can apply this concept to investing and doubling your wealth.
You're gone now, will you call me back? Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Hello and welcome to The Nimble Nomad. My name is Arjun and this is the channel where we talk about money and investing related tips, tricks and hacks to survive and thrive in the UK. Now, before I introduced myself, I asked you how much rice do you think existed on that 64th square of the chessboard. The answer to that is more rice than that has ever been produced in the history of mankind. And this is the power of compounding. So in this video, I'm actually going to be talking to you about a little bit more of the concept of compound interest and how you can apply this to your own personal wealth. I'll be talking about why investing money in the stock market is a better option when it comes to holding money in your bank account as cash. And finally, I'm going to be doing something that I've actually never done before, which is actually sharing how much money I personally have made through the power of compounding and investing in dividends, which actually adds to the compounding effect as well on my own personal portfolio. So how does compound interest actually impact our wealth and how can we get rich from it? Albert Einstein very famously once quoted saying that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. Compound interest truly is one of the easiest and most simple concepts that we can apply to our own personal wealth for ordinary people like you and I to get rich over a sustained period of time. Now, humans have a tendency to think very linearly, and to think about this, let's look at a couple of simple examples. A simple one is if you and I ate salads consistently over a week, we would lose a little bit of weight. If we exercise and did a bit more push-ups each night, we would get a bit stronger. Now, this actually is a very linear way of thinking, but if you apply this to wealth and investing in the stock market, the concept of doubling from a mathematical standpoint becomes quite difficult to fathom for the human mind just because of the time that's involved in doing so. So this is where I want to introduce you to the rule of 72. So what is the rule of 72 and how does it apply to the compound rates of return? So let's look at this mathematically. So rule of 72 basically says you take a yearly rate of return, let's say for example 7%, and you divide the number 72 to find out how many years it would take to double. For an investor receiving a 7% rate of return on their investments annually would see his or her money double in 10 years. At 5%, they would have to wait only 14 years, and at 9%, they would need just 8 years. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking that I'm painting an extremely rosy picture whereby investments can only go up if you invest money in the stock market. But this isn't actually true because the real risk with investing in the stock market is stock market crashes. And stock market crashes happen quite regularly. This is actually the main reason why a lot of people are actually hesitant to invest money into the stock market, whereby they think they could lose money if they invested money in the stock market. So what would be the alternative to investing money in the stock market? It would mean that you hold cash in your savings bank account, which means that at best in the UK, you could earn a 1.25% return from interest on the cash that you're holding. And yes, your money would actually be safe if you held it as cash in a savings bank account, but it would lose money over a sustained period of time because of inflation. So in the UK, like most developed countries, the target inflation rate is about 2%. Which means that the value of your money over an extended period of time would lose value, and therefore investing money would be a better option. But if you're scared of investing because of a stock market crash and you don't want to hold money as cash in your bank account because it's going to lose value, then what is your other option? And this actually is where dividend investing comes into play. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm a huge proponent of investing money in dividend paying stocks, not only because they generate passive income, but also by investing money in high quality businesses that pay a dividend. It doesn't matter what the stock price actually does. What you're relying on in order to build your wealth is that steady stream of dividend income that actually adds as a compounding effect if you reinvest that money. So to put things into perspective, 90% of Warren Buffett's wealth actually came in the last 25 to 30 years of his life, purely from the effects of compounding and the dividend income that he was receiving. Now obviously I'm talking about somebody that's ultra rich, but to put things into a bit more perspective, I want to share my own personal dividend stock portfolio and show you how the snowball effect of compound interest has applied to my personal portfolio. So I started investing in high quality dividend paying stocks about a year in a specific stocks and shares ISA. And I'm going to bring up on screen a graph now. So basically on this graph, I'm sharing my monthly dividend income and how it has grown since last year. Now, I want you to be aware that this is not a cumulative graph, but the numbers that I'm showing are the actual absolute values of how much dividend income I'm generating each month. I started investing quite heavily into dividend paying quality stocks May last year. And as you can see, initially the dividend income was quite small because dividends are usually paid on a quarterly basis. But as the dividends started coming in, I was also adding the capital into the portfolio. So I kept adding more money into the stock portfolio. And as I did so, the value of my dividends started increasing. So in June of this year, actually, I'm on target to earn the most amount of dividend income that I have ever earned from this particular portfolio. And my plan is to keep reinvesting the dividend income that I have earned each month. So this month I'm on target to earn about slightly over £350 on my dividend income. And in total, over the past 1 year, I have earned £1,050 from dividend income alone. Now, this does not actually factor in the capital appreciation that I have seen on my overall portfolio, which is about 18% over the past 1 year. So my portfolio has really grown, and I plan to keep reinvesting so that the compound effect increases tremendously. Now, in conclusion, obviously investing in dividend stocks or otherwise is an extremely personal decision, and it completely depends on what your personal financial goals are and what you want to achieve with your investments. So if you are a bit unsure and you're a beginner investor and you don't know whether you want to invest in dividend paying stocks or another mechanism, I've done a couple of videos on investing for beginners and dividend investing, which I'll add as links in the end card, so please check them out. And if you've stayed with me up until this point on the video, I'd really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.